madam. Hope you have a good day. Introduction to computer. Computer is an electronic device that can accept data as an input, process data to give information, it can store data, and may give out outputs. According to the definition, we get the basic functions of computer. The first function of computer is input. Computer can accept input through input device such as keyboard, mouse, and other device. Processing device, this involves the microprocessor or processor that is found inside the mother case. Storing device such as hard disk and controlling. Basic parts of computer are hardware. Example of hardware are keyboard and mouse. Software, these are application programs that help the computer to perform different tasks. Computer can perform its function according to the fetch execution cycle, which involves the fetching of the data from the RAM. Then after fetching of the data gets to be decoded in the control unit, and then data is going to be executed in arithmetic and logic units, and lastly data can be stored in RAM or it can be given out as an output. Components of computer. Computer consists of hardware device. These are physical and tangible parts of the computer. Also, computer consists of software devices. Software, these are application programs and the operating system that help the computer to perform different functions. Data, these are small pieces of information that can be processed to give out information to the user. These are the main controller of the electronic device that are found in the computer. Advantages of computer. The first of advantage of computer is speed. Computer can perform various tasks at a very high speed. Computer is very accurate compared to human being. Versatility. Computer can perform various tasks at a time. Large storage capacity. Computer can store large amount of data up to 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes. And also, computer can save time in performing of various tasks. Disadvantage of computer. The first disadvantage of computer is an unemployment problem. Different tasks can be performed automatically by the using computer. It reduces the need of the people and increases the unemployment rate in the society. Data security. The data stored in the computer can be accessed by unauthorized persons through networks. It has created serious problem for the data security. Privacy violation. The computer are used to store personal data of the people. The privacy of the person can be violated if the person and confidential record are not well protected. Computer crimes. People use computer for negative activities. They hack and credit card numbers of the people and misuse them to perform different tasks such as stealing. I welcome my other colleague to continue.
Computer hardware. This is a collection of physical parts of a computer, and as my colleague has already said, there is software and hardware. In terms of hardware means the thing can be touched and it is tangible by the user. There are 4 main groups of hardware, which are input devices, output devices, processing devices, and storage devices. When we talk about input devices, these are the devices that allow the user to input data into the computer. For example, keyboard. The keyboard, someone can use maybe to type, to write. For example, when we talk about the keyboard has different keys, where we have the function keys, alphanumeric keys, we have the enter keys, delete key, we also have the control key. All these keys can be used and they have different functions. Also, we have the mouse. the mouse, the scanner, which is used to convert hard copy to soft copy. Also, we have the digital camera and microphone, which is used to input sound into the computer. We also have output devices, which are the hardware devices that take data from the computer. Output devices include monitor, which used to show the things on the screen of what is the user is doing. We also have a printer, which converts the soft copy into hard copy. We also have a speaker, which gives out sound, and fax machines. Also, we have processing devices. The main processing device is the central processing unit, the CPU, which monitors also all the processes taking place in the computer. The CPU consists of two parts, which are logic and arithmetic unit, ALU, that deals with all the arithmetic and logic operations in the computer. For example, we talk about subtraction, multiplication, addition, and division. Also, in logical operations, which are greater than or less than, those kind of operations. Also, we have the control unit that controls the flow of information through the processor. We also have storage devices. Storage devices are the ones which are used to store information and data. Storage devices can be classified into primary and secondary devices. For example, when we talk about primary, we can say, for example, we have RAM and cache, where RAM is random access memory, and they also call it a volatile memory because it stores data while you are using it, and when the power goes off, all the data that has been stored is erased. Secondary storage, it permanently stores data. For example, when we talk about the hard drive, CD-ROM, and flash disk, which can be stored for future use. Okay, I welcome my colleague to continue.
Okay, computer motherboard. Motherboard is a printed circuit board that all the main internal components are connected to. Parts of motherboard. CPU socket. It is easy to identify it on the motherboard. It is the plastic square with holes for the CPU to be slotted in. Another part is memory slot to connect RAM to the motherboard. The other part is basic input and output system chip, BIOS chip. This chip contains instructions as to how the computer will communicate with the standard peripheral devices such as keyboard and mouse. Another part is complementary metal oxide semiconductor, CMOS chip. The chip stores date or time and startup settings. Other devices of motherboard are computer bus. Bus is a channel that allows devices inside a computer to communicate with each other. There are three parts of buses: address bus, a data bus, and a control bus. A data bus is a kind of computer bus, transfers actual data being processed. There are two types of data buses. There is industry standard architecture, ISA bus. There is peripheral component interconnect, PCI bus. The address bus, a collection of wires connecting the CPU with the main memory that is used to identify a particular location in a memory. Another control bus is control bus. A control bus is a computer bus used by CPUs for communicating with other devices within the computer. Other devices are computer ports. Ports are sockets within which connect external devices to the computer. There are two types of ports: parallel ports. These ports allow a device is capable of receiving more than one bit at a time.
Serial ports. These are ports that allow the device to transmit data in serial format, that is 1 bit at a time. Another device is expansion slot. An expansion slot is a socket on a motherboard that is used to insert, which provides additional functionalities to a computer such as video and sound. Expansion slot has 3 types: peripheral component interconnect PCI, accelerated graphic ports AGP, industry standard architecture ISA. System clock. Every modern PC has multiple system clocks. Each of these vibrates at a specific frequency, normally measured in megahertz. Another is electrical system, which includes power supply. This is the one of the most important components of the computer's electrical system. Let me welcome another speaker to continue.
We're going talking about the system case. My name is Romanos Kelvin. In the system case, we're going to look in about 4 parts. The first thing, we're going to look in what is it. Another thing is what does it compose of. And another next thing, we're going to look in why is it important. And fourth thing, we're going to look in what determines its size and the design. By starting, a computer case refers to the closure for all the main components of a computer. It's also known as a unit, system unit, or system case. And the computer system is very important as it protects the sensitive electronic parts from the outside the element. The size of the computer case is determined by the size of the motherboard, the I/O port, the motherboard, and in the computer case, as I said before, that in the enclosure of the computer component, it contained or it holds several computer components such as motherboards, I/O ports, cable, interface cards, storage device, power supply, storage devices, connector, and modem. By starting with the motherboard is the main body which connects all devices on a microcomputer. But this motherboard, it consists of several components which are connected or which are sharing instruction and different signal through the printed buses. And the motherboard, as I said before, that it also contains several components such as motherboard chipset, level 2 cache, bus slot, ROM, BIOS, clock, I/O chips, DIMM socket, and a CPU. Another component which contained in a computer case is I/O ports and cables. I/O ports and cables, this refers to the physical connector used to connect the external devices to the system. And among its types, it includes the serial ports, parallel ports, USB, CSCI, network, audio ports, video ports, and firewire ports. These ports, and furthermore, these ports are of 2 categories, which are serial and parallel ports. Another component is interface card or adapter card. These are devices which increase the computer functionality and customize the computer capability. And in interface card, there are several kinds of interface cards. One of it is an IC, and another one. This NIC, it connects the computer to a network using a network cable. Another one is wireless NIC. This, it connects the computer to a network using radio frequencies. Another one is a sound adapter. This provides audio capability to a computer. Another thing is a video adapter. This, it provides the graphic capability to a computer. Another thing is modem adapter. Connect a computer to the internet using a phone line. Another part is CSCI adapter, which connects CSCI devices such as hard drives or tape drive to a computer. Another interface card is USB ports, which connect a computer to peripheral devices. Another part is parallel ports, which connect a computer to a peripheral devices too. Another interface card is a serial ports, which connect a computer to peripheral too. And another part which contained in computer case is storage devices. Storage devices, these are computing hardware that are used for storing, porting, or extracting data files and objects. The computer case composed of these storage devices such as hard drives, optical drive, flash drive, and network drive. Another part which contained in a computer case is the power supply. The power supply, its work is to supply the power to every part in the PC. But furthermore, the power supply, it's used to convert the AC or alternative current to required DC current according to ability or capability of the motherboard. And another thing is modem. This it refers to the computer component that convert the digital data into analog data. Modem are of two types, which are internal modem and external modem, whereas internal modem reside on expansion board on the slot of the motherboard, and this internal modem are located inside the computer case, but this external modem, these are inserted outside the computer case or the computer or the system unit. Another part or the last part is a connector. This connector designed to insert in only on one direction, and each part of the connector has a colored wire with a different voltage running through it. I would like to welcome my colleague to proceed with the other parts.
The another part is data and data storage. Data is a sequence of signals that represent a certain information and can be stored in media. Most of the data in digital systems like computers are stored in bytes. But byte is the definition of 8 bits. So a computer can store highs and lows. So in that sense, most of the storage devices help to define characters in terms of bytes, and thus kilobytes, and thus megabytes, furthermore gigabytes. So as you can see here, data and data storage are the main important parts among the important parts of the CPU processing and producing the output. So data storage refers to the use of media to record or to store data using computer or other devices. There are two types of data storage in a computer. Data storage are divided into two parts, which are secondary data devices and the primary data storage devices. As you can see, there is hard disk drives, magnetic tapes, USB flash, floppy disk, optical storage device, solid state drives, and those all are second data storage device. Another one is primary storage device, which include random access memory. Random access memory is the main memory of the computer. Accompanying with the cache memory, they help to increase the speed of the processing, since this is the main memory. So all the data that are being processed are kept in the random access memory so as to increase the processing speed. So what makes us qualify the storage device, or what qualify the PC in the term of storage? You can see qualities of data and data storage. One is storage capability. The storage capability defines how much data storage media can hold, most defined in digital formats of bits, bytes, kilobytes, megabytes, furthermore terabytes, gigabytes, and so further, and etc. The more the the more the ability of its storage device to keep more data, the more it is important to the PC or computer. So there is another quality, which is reading and writing speed. This property helps to determine how much data can be stored in specified amount of time. So you can see how this is how it can define problem, how it can it can redefine certain function, how the certain function can be operated. It all depends on data. So if it can flow more data in a small time, it means also the function can also be fast and satisfying. So reading and writing speed of the storage device is among the quality that explain the data and data storage. Another one is manufacturing and maintenance cost. The material that used and technology used behind making and maintaining the storage device determine the quality of that storage device. Material required to make and troubleshoot or to do maintenance. Permanence of stored data. This explains the volatility of data. So there are two types of memory out there that they have this behavior, and this volatility depends on either volatile or non-volatile data storage device. And most of random access memories, primary memories, are very volatile. It is volatile storage device. So as long as the PC is on, it will keep the storage, that data. But when it's off, it will lose that data. That's how volatility work. But in another type of storage, in most of the secondary devices, they have non-volatility property. They can keep data even when you switch off the PC, the computer. Another quality we can see here is how easy is it to access the data. The location mode of accessing the data can either be sequential or random. You can see random and sequential are two times different. Random means that whenever the processing or the processor of the computer want to reach data, it can easily reach the data randomly. It can directly access the data. But in sequential mode of accessing the data, the process has to go sequence of chapters in memory or storage devices so as to reach the data it wanted. So as you can see, random access is easier than sequential. Since sequential occupies more time, it needs more time in order to reach the required chapter. There are other types of storage device. As I explained earlier, there are two types of storage devices, which are primary storage devices and secondary storage devices. These storage devices have a direct access. Primary storage devices. These storage devices have a direct access by the CPU and play a part in system processing. Example: RAM and ROM. RAM is the main memory of the CPU or the computer. Whenever a computer runs a process or a function, all the caches, all the random, all the temporary data are stored in RAM. So as long as the process is running, it needs a cache memory, which will always be needed for that process. For example, when we run a C program, we may need to store an integer, so that the integer is stored in RAM. It is easily accessed by the CPU. So that's the main important function of the RAM. Another one is ROM. ROM are very non-volatile type of storage devices. They are made non-volatile devices so that they can keep information as long as that the computer is in process. I mean, it is not destroyed. So as long as that computer is in well health, the ROM keep the hardware system information, the security, and other information like pin codes, user informations. So user information like pin codes. So ROM helps a computer to store that data. Another one is secondary storage devices. This storage and primary and very volatile and non-volatile, and they act as bulk storage of a computer. Example: HDD, SSD, and floppy disk. Thank you.
Okay, hello there. This is our last part concerning our presentation. As we follow up in our presentation from the beginning until the end, we have seen that computer has many functions. It can operate in various states, like it has many advantages. Also, computer it contains many parts, like the one which have been explained. But the important task or important thing to know about the computers, it have to be well maintained. When I'm talking about well maintained, it's supposed to be it's supposed to be take care concerning the all activities running in a computer. So the most important the most important part we can use for maintaining the computer is called a toolkit. When we're talking about toolkit, it's a set of tools designed to be used together for computer hardware repairs. So tools consist of many components. For example, is electrostatic discharge tool, also is hand tool, cleaning tool, and diagnostic tool. When we are talking about electrostatic discharge tool, first of all, you have to know what is the meaning of electrostatic discharge. When I'm talking about electrostatic discharge, this is the discharge of electric power in a device, which can cause several harmful to the computer's components. Example for electrostatic discharge is like it's like rubbing a pen in the hair, so there are some electric charges which have been present there. So electric static discharge, this is mainly occurs when we are maintaining the computers, as the technician is used to troubleshoot the various components in a computer hardware. So you have to wear it's like a wire, it's like a piece of wire which you use to wrap it in your hand, so as to avoid the electric static discharge while troubleshooting the computer's hardware. And also another part for toolkit is called hard tool. The hard tool is composed of wire cutter, which is used to cut different wires, and also it consists of screwdrivers, which is used to screwing purpose in a computer hardware. And also there is another part of hardware tool, which is called cleaning tools. In cleaning tools consist of various components such as blower. The blower is a part which used to blow dust, to remove dust in a computer's hardware's component. For example, is motherboard, because in motherboard it can contain many dust for it to function. So when the motherboard contains many dust, so it will not able to function properly. So we have to use the blower as a component which is used to remove the dust in a motherboard. And also there is a soft cloth which is used to clean especially the RAM, random access memory, which is used for storage device, for storage purpose. So we have to use the soft cloth which is used to remove the dust in a RAM. And also another part for hardware tool is diagnostic tool. in diagnostic tool, this is a very essential part in a maintenance, because in diagnostic tool are the tools which you can use them so as to identify why is a problem in your network device. For example, you can run the computer, but the power supply it cannot function well. So in order to know what's wrong in your computer, you have to use the diagnostic tool, which the common example for diagnostic tool is a digital multimeter. Digital multimeter is a device which used to detect the presence of current and voltage in your power supply system. So when you use the tool like digital multimeter, you can able to realize what is the problem behind your power supply system. And also another part for tools in maintenance is called software tools. The software tools, these are the tools which cannot see them in the physical eyes. Instead, they are like applications. So the common example, the software tools are categorized in different categories. The first one is disk management tools. In disk management tools, it consists of format, disk cleanup, and scan disk. All these are the components which are included in the disk management tool. For example, you can be in a scenario when the disk has some malfunction. So the proper way to discover the errors in a disk, in your hard disk, it can be a hard drive disk or solid drive disk, it depends. So the most common the most common tool which you can use to diagnostic the disk management failure is can use those devices such as format, scan disk, and others. Also, another type for software tools is protection software tools. These are very, very, very important tools in maintaining your computers, because as we know, when you're running computers, can have many attackers, like those hackers who can exploit your system. So it's very important to use the antivirus programs such as Kaspersky and others antivirus program. Also, we have to use the security function, like in Windows 10 is a security function which is called Window Defender. This is a very important software tool when you are using computers, so as to protect you from the attackers and other unwanted resources from the internet. And also another component for software tool is organization tools. These are tools which can be documented especially for future use. So it's are the tools especially in many different organizations which can be documented or which can be written so as they can be used for the future use. And also another part for software tools is personal reference tools. The personal reference tool, are the tools which are normally documented so as to help another person when he is trying to make the maintenance for that computer. So personal reference tools, these are the tools which when a person is starting to troubleshoot a device in a computer, so you'll be able to know exactly what were the mistakes or what were the failures before that computer has been crashed. So also another last part for software tools is internet reference tool. This also is very common and important tool to know, because nowadays due to the advancement of science and technology, you can search or you can surf a lot of things in the internet which can be very helpful in troubleshooting your computers. For example, there are many websites such as Wikipedia, there are many blogs, there are many websites there at the internet. So there are many content and resources which can be helpful in troubleshooting many different hardware components. So at conclusion, I can say that computer is very, very important electronic component in nowadays, because computers is used to communicate between different people. As you can see, when even here when I'm trying to record this video, we normally use computer. Also, it's used in many places, like in networking, in programming, in different aspects. So computer is very important component, very important electronic component, so as it can be used to improve the world economy and other various aspects. So thank you so much for listening.